So hi everybody, and it really is lovely to have everybody here and to see you all coming in, and the response, which has been almost overwhelming to this gathering. Both Mary and myself, I think, are delighted to be here.
So I just wanted to welcome you all. It's 8:30, so we'll start to really welcome everybody. It's lovely to see you all here and to create this community of people coming together over the next 14 days. I'm Mary Kennedy. I'm a mindfulness teacher, a Celtic wisdom teacher, and a facilitator and a coach. And myself and Mary work together. Mary, who has founded Uskald, but we work together in Uskald. So if you would like to, Mary, if you want to just introduce yourself.
Yeah, for those of you that I don't know, my name is Mary O'Callaghan, and as Mary said, I run Uskald. I'm also a psychotherapist and mindfulness teacher and self-compassion. And I spent a number of years in monastic life as a Buddhist nun, and it's really my passion to bring these disciplines together, and that's what we're hoping to do during these few days together.
So the first thing is, this is a community space. We really wanted it to be a community space. So it's also a place of stillness that we want to create for this 30 minutes. So we will open with sitting in silence for a minute, then we'll do a little reflection, and then we'll go into a practice, and then we'll end with a poem. So what we would like to do is build it into a more community base, so we may have more interaction, but we're just trying to work and see what is arising. So Mary, I'll hand over to you just to give us a little bit overview of the next 14 days.
Yeah, so we're just going to, so first of all, I'm a little nervous because I've never done this before. So having said that, I'll carry on. So in a way, this is really a response to the uncertainty that I think we're all experiencing and have been over the last several days. And I think we're getting an awful lot of information, of really helpful information as to how do we respond to this externally. And what we really want to do here is to look at how can we internally respond to this, to the inevitable emotions that will arise when uncertainty is there. And really none of us kind of go through uncertainty with willingness. We kind of avoid our vulnerability, which is understandable. So this, as Mary said, this is a kind of a social experiment where we can come together and really use this time, because we have a lot of time now to actually see if we can kind of come back to ourselves and begin to integrate some of the practices that we'll be sharing. So I'd like to look at this from really to take kind of three lenses. And the first one is really this sense of agency, which gives us the possibility to kind of create a sort of sense of resilience. And we already see, certainly around my community where I am, that there's a lot of resilience. People are coming together in really wonderful ways. Like, I think it's the first time I've seen kids playing on the streets. People are coming out and doing exercises together. And I think some of the most beautiful poetry has been written in response to this crisis. Now, that's not to undermine the challenges we face, but I think just to bear in mind that there is always the possibility, I think, of kind of engendering this sense of resilience. And the second thing I'd like to look at really is this possibility for a choice and discernment. And this is particularly in response to emotions. And sometimes even with emotions that, you know, that we don't even want to feel. So for example, over the last few days, many of us have experienced a lot of fear. And in a way, what that's done is that it's mobilized us to really, to be safe for ourselves, to be safe for our families, to be safe for our community. And that's really important. But I think what we have to be aware of are the kind of close relatives of fear. And, you know, fear is a response to an immediate threat, whereas anxiety and worry are often based on things that we project into the future, often a kind of an imaginary future, because we don't know what's going to happen. And anxiety and fear, anxiety and worry, what they tend to do is that they really can overwhelm our system. So we're going to be offering practices, I think, that will help us to really kind of come back to the moment and be able to hold these inevitable emotions that will arise in a kind of greater space. And the third thing that I'd like to look at, or that we'd like to look at, is the possibility of, you know, this kind of sense of our shared humanity. We're all going through this now. We're all experiencing uncertainty, worry, fear, all of the emotions. And I think this recognition that we're all going through this together, I think that in itself kind of opens our heart, you know, to know that we're all in this. I think this is one of the things that this pandemic has shown us, that we're all in this together. And I think sometimes I certainly find, for me, when I bear that in mind, and I know that everybody is experiencing probably quite similar emotions at different times, it kind of gives us a sense of, yeah, that sort of quality of opening, which I think is really important. And the other thing that I'd like to look at, actually, so we look at these, in the days to come, we'll explore these three lenses, but I'd also look at the possibility of flourishing. You know, is it possible during this time to find ways that we can also flourish? And I don't mean flourish in any kind of huge, big way, but is there a way that we can really kind of come back and enjoy kind of the moment, maybe this, what this time can offer us? And I know for myself, during the week, I think I might have been listening to the radio or something, and I got this sort of shot of, I don't know, worry or anxiety. And suddenly, kind of at the corner of my eye, I saw this beautiful little kind of cocky little robin in the garden. And suddenly I spent some time with him and just looking at him. And there was something that really changed, this kind of capacity to really rest into the moment. It gave me just a real respite. And it kind of reminded me of a story that I heard many years ago when I was living in the monastery, of a Zen teacher. And the story went like he had fallen over a cliff and was kind of clutching precariously onto this branch, and within hand's reach was a strawberry. And in the midst of all of this kind of challenging situation, he tasted the strawberry, and it was like into this moment, and it was the most delicious strawberry he had ever tasted. And I think it's a very poignant story, that really in the midst of very difficult, very challenging times, that we may be able to find moments when we can, you know, really just step into that ability to really be present and to really see what life offers us in this moment. So that's just a kind of overview that, and we will be kind of going more deeply into that and offering practices that we can begin to really just explore this terrain. So the 3 points that I really just want to say is that the first lens that we're going to be really exploring is this, our sense of agency and to build up resilience. The second thing that we'd like to look at, how can we discern and have choice over the emotions, that how do we want to direct that? We don't have any choice around what arises, but I think there may be a capacity that we have a choice around how we respond to them. And the third practice that we'd like to look at really is the practice of self-compassion. So Mary, I'm going to hand back over to you now. And so I hope that makes sense. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, lovely. I mean, the overall intention for this, when we designed this, was how do we turn crisis into possibility and flourishing? And the 3 places, or the 3 practices that we're going to be working with are, over the next 14 days, are mindfulness. So that in mindfulness, self-compassion, and working really with intention. So in mindfulness, what we're looking at is that ability to be with what is. In this time when it's so hard to be with what is, when it's so deeply uncomfortable to be with what is, our mindfulness practice can really help us and guide us and resource us in how can we be with what is, which is moment to moment change, unpredictability, discomfort, contraction, all the things that are so hard to be with as the moments arise. But it's through the mindfulness and through that practice that we can meet each moment with a way of just opening to the moment, opening and grounding ourselves in the moment. And the second piece is self-compassion. I know personally for myself, this was a practice that was a game changer in my life, and really allows us to disrupt our old responses to, particularly to threat. And we're in times of threat now, that our threat system is up. So the self-compassion, again, just allows us to include ourselves in the circle of compassion. But really, for me, it's a very radical practice in disrupting that constant, the ways that we would go into rumination and catastrophic thinking, and just becoming hard and contracted. So the self-compassion is the second element. And the third piece then is what's our intention moment to moment. So intention is such an important and profound and powerful way to bring our attention to what we're attending to, what we're noticing. So what's our intention in every moment? Again, in these moments when things are changing and the ground beneath us is shifting, like how are we responding moment to moment, and what intention are we bringing and attention are we bringing to each moment? So those are the three pieces, or three elements that again we will be weaving in through the next 14 days together. So with that, I just wanted to draw one other technical piece of information. You have capacity to look at the screen in gallery view or in speaker view. So up on the right-hand corner, top right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see there's gallery view, or you can change it to speaker view. I have mine on speaker view. So speaker view will be whoever's speaking. That might be a little easier. But gallery, if you want to just tune into the community, which is lovely too. That's why it's really lovely to leave your camera on if you can. Okay, so it's 8:45, so we're going to move into the practice now. And the practice we're going to do today is a practice in the body scan, because with mindfulness, we're working with mindfulness of the body and mindfulness of the breath. The breath and the body are here in the present moment. And this is, the more we return to the present moment, the more we will regulate our nervous system. So I want you to find a comfortable position, and that can be seated or you can lie down if you want to do that. And just as you come into that position of stillness, just really noticing as you close your eyes, you're moving from the more external focus into an internal focus. And just knowing that this is a transition, and it's a process to move internally. And just sensing the body, the whole body here this morning. Sensing into the body. If you're sitting on the chair, you're lying, sensing whatever surface that you're in contact with. And then let your attention come to your breath, wherever you notice your breath most easily in the body. So let your attention rest there and become curious about your breath. Notice how it moves this part of the body, where it touches. And we know that the attention will wander into thinking, into worry, some distraction. And that's okay. We just gently bring the attention back to the breath with a kindness and a care towards ourselves and towards our attention. And then open your awareness again to include the whole body. So just sensing the body now, the full body, lying or sitting here. Welcoming whatever arises, whatever you notice. Just an attitude of welcoming what's here. And then letting your attention come to the right foot. Just sensing the right foot in this moment. Resting your attention on the right foot and just noticing what's here. And then letting the attention move up into the right lower leg. So between the right ankle and the right knee. Sensing the calf muscle, the shin bone. Aware of the lower right leg. And then letting the attention come up into the right thigh, between the knee and the hip. Large bone of the thigh, large muscle. And just getting curious about what's here this morning when you put your attention here. And then letting the attention move across into the left foot. Sensing the space between your toes. Maybe if the foot is against the ground or the heel is against the ground, noticing the contact, pressure. And then running the attention up into the lower left leg between the knee and the ankle. And then letting the attention move into the thigh, the long bone of the thigh, big muscle of the thigh, the whole circumference of the thigh, the left thigh. And becoming aware of the pelvis, the buttocks, the pelvic bowl. So you might notice any contact, pressure, if you're sitting or lying, the weight. And then letting the attention move up into the belly. I'm just sensing the belly here this morning. In this moment. You might notice the breath here. The waves of breath. And just getting curious about what's here when you stop and let your attention rest on your belly. Opening to receive whatever is here, welcoming it all, pushing nothing away. And letting the attention move up into the front of the ribs, the side of the ribs, side ribs, and the back of the ribs, and just sensing this whole circumference of the ribs, front, sides, and back. Again, you might become aware of the breath here, and how the breath expands, opens, and then releases this whole area. Your attention will wander, and that's okay. Gently, kindly, with great care, bring your attention back to the breath, to the sensations in the ribs. And letting the attention move down into the area between the ribs and the lower back, this whole lower back area. And again, if you're sitting, you might notice this gently presses into the chair as your breath comes in. Or if you're lying, or just getting curious about what's here for you in this moment. And then letting your attention move up into the upper chest, right and left side of the chest, the breastbone, the collarbones. And just with a curiosity, resting your attention here. Opening to what's here. Moving your awareness now, your attention, let it travel into the upper back, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, the area in between your shoulder blades. Again, you might really subtly sense the breath here. Place we hold a lot of tension. Your attention is just resting on this upper back in this moment. And then letting the attention move down into the right arm and right hand. So really resting the attention in the long arm, upper arm, bone down into the elbow, down into the lower arm and into the right hand. Maybe sensing any space between your trunk of the body and the right arm. Space between the fingers or not. And moving your attention across into the left hand and left arm. And sensing both arms now simultaneously. Both arms, both hands. Curious about the aliveness that's here in this moment. Sensations as you rest your attention on your arms and hands. And then moving the attention into the throat, the neck, front of the throat, back of the neck, sides of the neck. And sensing the throat and the neck here. And then letting the attention come to the mouth, to the lips, noticing if they're touching, there's a plane of contact between them, or if they're slightly open. Then moving the attention into the mouth, the teeth, the gums, the tongue. Awareness of any moisture in the mouth. Maybe the taste of breakfast still lingering in the mouth. Then becoming aware of the nostrils, right and left. Maybe sensing the breath here. And then the eyes, right and left. And then the whole face, opening your awareness to include the whole face. And then include the whole head in your awareness and your attention. When you rest your attention on your face and your head this morning or in this moment, what is it that you notice? And then opening your awareness to include the whole body now. The whole body in this moment. Curious to what you notice, welcoming everything, pushing nothing away. The aliveness of this moment. The aliveness of the body in this moment.
And so we'd like to end just with a poem by a woman called Lynn Ungar, and it's called Pandemic. So if you just stay there with your eyes closed and just let the words come through. So what have you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling. Give up just for now on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You can hardly deny that now. Know that our lives are in another's hands, and surely that has become clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly when we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better and for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we shall live.